What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I have had quite a few requests to make this video, so today we are going to be doing the what's in my dog's travel bag / hiking essentials. Now keep in mind throughout this video that I have two dogs, I have two golden retrievers, and this is all geared towards hiking. Obviously everybody's situation is different, everyone's dogs are different, so just because my dogs want to have this stuff with them or I want to have this stuff for my dogs doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have this for yours. First thing on our list is Snuggle Puppies, which you might think, how is that essential? Well, my dogs are very attached to their Snuggle Puppies and they have to sleep with them every single night. This is LARSEY Snuggle Puppy. This is COBA J's. They've had them ever since we first got them the first night at 8 weeks old, and they have been sleeping with them still ever since. Next on the list, we have ID collars. These are from Sniff and Bark, by the way, and I do have a discount code. It's LARSEY COBA 25. But I like using collars like this where they're engraved on the buckle for ID, because even if they have ID tags, that's great, but what if the ID tag falls off? So I like having the collar on them that has their information engraved into the buckle, so that way I don't have to worry about anything falling off. Next up, we have poop bags. So we go through a ton of poop bags, as I'm sure you can imagine, and I think it is very important to always clean up after your pet, always have these handy, because you don't always know when they're going to want to go. Next up, we have accident spray. So my girls haven't had accidents in I couldn't tell you how long, but you never know, and I never want them to have an accident while we are somewhere else and I don't have anything to clean it up. So especially if you're going to be staying at a hotel, if you're staying at an Airbnb, you're definitely going to want to have something to clean up a mess if, God forbid, it were to happen. Speaking of a mess, shampoo. So I have the 4-in-1 shampoo conditioner from Wall, but I always bring this just in case they get super dirty or super gross and I need to bathe them while I'm there. I also always bring their towels, just in case. In addition to those towels, I always bring their regular towels. So they have their own set of bath towels and they also have their own set of regular paw towels. When they come in from going outside, we always clean out their paws. I also always have one of these handy inside the car, just in case they get dirty. We can clean them up a little bit before they get back into the car. Speaking of the car, a car hammock. I don't know how I would ever live without a car hammock. I think that they are wonderful for keeping everything clean. Definitely an essential if you are traveling somewhere in the car. With the car hammock, I would recommend getting one with seat belts. It literally clicks right into the seat belt for a human seat belt, and it just connects right onto their harness. Moving on, we have an obvious leashes. Obviously, you gotta have leashes. These ones are from Wild One. I love the Wild One leashes. I love their harnesses. I love the collars. I love everything about them. Then we have the Easy Walk harnesses. So I always walk my girls on Easy Walk harnesses because they like to pull and they do so much better with an Easy Walk harness. So especially if we are traveling, we're going to be hiking, definitely can't go without this. Next up, we have a brush. I actually always brush my dogs with a comb. I just think that it gets everything out better. It makes everything look smoother. I love doing behind their ears, their paws, their booty floof, tail. If we're going to be hiking, they're probably going to get something stuck in their fur. They're probably going to get dirty somehow. Probably gonna get a little matted, and I want to make sure that I can comb that out, but regardless, they get brushed every single day anyways. And speaking of brush, their toothbrushes. They get their teeth brushed usually every single morning and every single night, so regardless, no matter where we are, we always have to have their toothbrushes. And when we're talking about toothbrushes, obviously we have to have toothpaste. I use just a tiny bit of toothpaste for them. They get so excited to brush their teeth. They love brushing their teeth. I love that because I'm a dental hygienist. As soon as they hear the cap open, they come running. Then we have Paw Bomb. I like to put this Paw Bomb on their pads just because they get really dry, really cracked, especially if we're going to be walking on more rough terrain. I always like to have this to put on at the end of the day. Speaking of rough terrain, this isn't something that I personally use, but it is something that you might want to use. I do have these little booties for them. They don't really love them, but they are super cute. To go with the boots, we also have their rain jackets. So historically, we have been very lucky on hikes and haven't had a lot of rain. But if we were to go hiking through the rain, I definitely would want to have their rain jackets to put on, just so that way they're not completely soaked throughout the hike. If they come back and they get muddy, their paws get dirty, I always bring the paw cleaners. This is super easy. I just put a little drop of Dawn dish soap in there, filled up with warm water. You stick their paw in, you twist it around, and it helps clean everything off. And then you can just rinse it back out, stick it in the dishwasher. They're super easy to clean. Water, definitely an essential. Whenever we are traveling, we always buy just a big case of water for myself and the girls. The girls do drink bottled water. And when we're hiking, we always just put a ton of water, a ton of drinks in the Yeti. We just leave it in the trunk of the car. When we're going on hikes, we just load up our backpacks, and that way things stay pretty cool for us. As for backpacks, this is the backpack that I always use for the girls. I got this from Amazon and I love it. It's nice because you can carry it as just a regular bag if you're not going very far, or you can wear it as, like I said, a backpack. There is a spot on either side where you can put drinks, so I definitely take advantage of that. And then in the front, this is where I always keep poop bags, just so that way they are super handy. And here I have their long leads. They each have a 30-foot long lead. I'm an idiot and I bought two of the exact same color, so it's very hard to tell whose leash is whose when they're on, because when they get all tangled and mingled, I can't tell which line is which because it's the same color. So if you have more than one dog, I definitely recommend getting two different colors. But this is really nice if we're just like hanging out at a certain spot. You can whip this out, wrap it around a tree. That way they can kind of hang out with you. I do have the little metal things that you twist into the ground, but they can just rip those right out of the ground super easily. In addition to my backpack, I also have my little dog Mom Fanny, like a treat pouch. I use this for training, but I also use it when we're going on like shorter walks or shorter hikes. It's just a lot smaller and I can still fit a lot of the essentials that I need. I always have some treats, some snacks in the front there. Always have poop bags. Always have a to-go water dish attached. And then in here, I can put a water bottle if I need to. And I also always have this. This is my secret weapon. No matter where I go, what we're doing with the dogs, I always have one of their favorite balls, because recall is never going to be 100% of the time. So I always have one of the balls handy, because I know that if they were to, God forbid, ever get loose, they would come back for the ball. So I have this in hand for them to see, for me to squeak, to get them to come back to us. Speaking of the ball, I always bring some toys for them as well. Usually I just bring something for them to chew on, or some balls for them to play with. Whenever we're traveling, especially for hiking, they usually are pretty tired by the end of the day, so I don't need to bring a whole lot toy-wise. Treats, like I said, I always have treats. Chippin' is one of our favorite treat companies. The girls love their Chippin'. I always have some food storage containers for the girls. Obviously, I bring their food, but if we are hiking and it's during one of their meal times, I always make sure that I have their food already with me for them to have it at their normal times. The girls do eat 3 times a day. They eat every morning, lunch, and dinner. Usually, we're at least hiking during one of their meals. So something like this is super small, super simple, that I can just throw in the backpack. I just measure out their food in the morning, and that way it's already ready to go. Speaking of that, this is LARSEY's old food dish, so it is a slow feed bowl because both of my girls eat like vacuums. But this is really nice to just have to take on the go whenever we are feeding them. When we're out traveling or on vacation somewhere, we always feed them separately, so we do one by one. One of them will sit there, eat their entire meal, and then we'll switch, take turns. So that way we don't have to bring 2 bowls with us. Whenever we are actually on a hike, we can just bring one and they can share it. Speaking of the bowls, here's just another to-go water dish. I love these. I have 3 of them. I always have one attached to my backpack. I have one attached to my little mom bag. They just always come in handy. Of course, having 2 golden retrievers, depending on what dog you have, maybe they don't shed, but my dogs shed a lot. Whenever you are going out somewhere, this is always something that you need, because there's definitely going to be hair all over you from having a golden. And the last thing on the list, something that I think is extremely essential, regardless if you're traveling or on a hike or whatever. I think everybody should have a home vet bag, because you never know when you might need it, and this thing is wonderful. I think it was like $75 on Amazon. It's worth it because you want to be ready and prepared to at least attempt to do something if something were to happen. And second of all, if I'm a couple miles out hiking in the woods and something happens, what am I going to do? Am I just going to run 3 miles back to my car? Usually there's not any self-service. Like, you got to be able to do something. So I love having this with us. So whenever we're hiking, we just take out the essentials bag, throw it in the backpack, and that way anything that we could possibly ever need, it is in there. And this also comes with a little manual, which is really nice. I took a first aid basics class for pets. I think that is super important. But even if you don't have any background knowledge, this first aid manual is like a little dummy guide. So it tells you exactly what to do in any type of situation, whether it's trauma, if it's a snake bite, if it's hypothermia, if they need CPR, if they're limping, if they have a nosebleed, if they're vomiting, if they collapsed, if they had a heat stroke. Like, all of this is in there. It's all broken down, made very simple, so you know what to do, or at least attempt to do. And on the back you can put all of your important information, so that way if something ever happens, you already have all this important information ready to go, because in that mindset you are not thinking about X, Y, and Z. Now, one thing that I did not mention is a dog crate. For one, I can't fit their crates inside my car, and for two, when we travel they sleep with us. When we travel anywhere that we go, they come with us, so they are never left anywhere by themselves. If you are doing something where you're leaving them by themselves, definitely bring their crates if you can. But for us, we just purposely plan everything so that way they never have to be left alone without us. And there you have it. That is what's in my dog's travel bag. If I was going to pack their suitcase, that's going to be what I put in it. If we are going hiking, this is the stuff that I'm going to be bringing. Obviously, if we're doing a small hike close to home, I'm not going to be bringing all of this stuff, but these are definitely essentials that you'd want to bring on a trip. Hopefully you found this helpful. I will have links to everything in the description box. If I have a discount code for it, I will make sure to include it so that way you guys can get it cheaper. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and as always, we will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!